Lara against Ronald Hearns, the eldest child of the legendary Thomas Hitman Hearns. In a junior middleweight bout, it's scheduled for 10 rounds. The 33-year-old Ronald Hearns was a college basketball player, turned pro at the age of 25, and he did so after only a handful of amateur fights. He has perhaps gotten further than a lot of people expected, but he's built his solid record against somewhat limited opposition. He's tall, he's lanky, and he relies on a long jab and a straight right hand, probably most effective when he fights on the outside. He did suffer his first loss of his career back in 2009, and he did so right here on Showbox, getting beaten up by TKO by a rough and tough guy by the name of Harry Joe Yorgi. His second loss was in his last fight, a 7th-round TKO defeat by middleweight champion Felix Sturm in his last fight 14 months ago. So Ronald Hearns steps into the ring, 26 up and 2 down with 20 knockouts along the way. Steve, take us behind the numbers.
Barry, one level below. Hearns has the name, but does he have the game? You can't consider him a top fighter for one good reason. He's never beaten a top fighter. Into the fire. Lara's been off 9 months, but Hearns is coming off a 14-month layoff. Facing this type of opposition and coming off a loss, I might have recommended a tune-up. And new experience, Lara's a lefty, and in 28 pro bouts to date, Hearns has faced only one southpaw. This is a tough way to learn.
All right, so that's a look at Ronald Hearns. The other half of this matchup, the 29-year-old Erislandy Lara, an outstanding amateur, 5-time Cuban national champion. He defected back in 2008. Now he's a natural counterpuncher. He's a left-hander. He uses his speed. He's got very fluid movement. Very quickly, he has become one of the best 154-pounders in the world. If there's been any kind of criticism about Erislandy Lara, it would be that he can sometimes become just a little bit too tentative. He turned in an uninspired performance against Carlos Molina, but he got away with a draw. But he rebounded in a way with a very unpopular majority decision loss to 2-time welterweight champion Paul Williams. That was in his last fight 9 months ago. 29 years old, the clock is ticking for Erislandy Lara. This is a guy that seems to be able to be just about as good or not as good as he wants to be. His record, 15 up, 1 down. He's got 1 draw. And once more, Steve, let's go behind the numbers.
Will do, Barry. Out of the blocks, Lara's punching power is seemingly determined by his mindset. Consider that 8 of his 10 KOs have come in the first round. Now's the time. Clearly, Lara's one of the best 154-pounders in boxing, but he's 29, and the record says he's winless in his last 2. So there's no margin for error tonight. And finding the groove, Lara's a counterpuncher who relies on timing. Let's see if the 9-month layoff, which is easily the longest of his pro career, has an effect early in the fight.
So what's left in us to get on with it? We'll do that. Erislandy Lara and Ronald Hearns, junior middleweight, scheduled for 10 rounds. With that, we take it to the center of the ring, and the ring announcer tonight, Joe Antonacci.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and welcome to the beautiful Beau Rivage Resort and Casino and MGM property here in Biloxi, Mississippi. We're here for Showbox, the new generation. Tonight's action brought to you by DeBella Entertainment and Golden Boy Promotions in association with Everlast and Showtime, who presents the rematch, Ortiz versus Berto 2, Saturday, June 23rd, live on Showtime. Introducing first, the 3 judges for this contest: Freddie Steinwinder III, David Taranto, and Raymond White. And our referee, Keith Hughes. Boxing fans, this bout is a WBC eliminator, 10 rounds of action in the junior middleweight division. Presenting first, fighting out of the blue corner. He enters the ring wearing red trunks, and he weighed in at 156 1/4 pounds. His record stands at 26 victories, only 2 losses. 20 wins by knockout. From Detroit, Michigan, please welcome the chosen one, Ronald Hearns. And his opponent fighting out of the red corner, wearing white trunks. He weighed in at 156½ pounds. Professional record, 15 victories, only 1 defeat and 1 draw. 10 of his victories coming by knockout. Originally from Guantanamo, Cuba, now fighting out of Houston, Texas. Please welcome the 3-time Cuban national amateur champion and the current WBA number 3, IBF number 4, and WBA number 5 rated junior middleweight contender. Known as El Oro de Guantanamo, the Punisher, Erislandy Lara. Our referee has our fighters' final instructions.
Come on, Hearns. Lara. Come on. All right. I already gave you instructions, dressing room. Listen to me at all times now. Remember what I said. Watch your holding, all right, guys? Shake hands. Good luck to both of you.
We take a look at the tail of the tape. Numbers are interesting here. Lara 4.5 inches shorter than Hearns, but his reach is a ½ inch longer, and that'll allow Lara to connect with his overhand left, by far his primary weapon. Rules here in Mississippi, they're the unified rules. No standing 8, no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight. You can't be saved by the bell in any round. And the accident, the foul, if the fight is stopped before the end of 4, no decision. After that, we go to the cards.
And with that, we are set to go. Ronald Hearns in the red trunks, Erislandy Lara in the white. Hearns jab and a right hand. There's no secret to what he does. He wants to fight at long range. Lara, historically, has been a very good counterpuncher, and that's the way he prefers to fight. Working the body early in this fight.
You see how much heat Lara brings early. He's generally more effective when a fighter comes to him. Hearns doesn't figure to do that.
Left hand slipped in by Lara. Hearns, in the past, has had a tendency to hold his left hand extremely low. In fact, he'll throw that jab from his thigh, and the unfortunate thing for him, he'll bring it back there as well.
That's worse than throwing it from the thigh. That's right.
Now, they have been working on that. We'll see if it has any effect. Doing a little bit better with it so far. Good sharp jab by Hearns. It's not just a show-me jab. It's a jab with intention. And here's a left hand. Hearns is down. Just like that.
3, 4, 5.
And he is very unsteady. See how Lara plays this now. Long way to go. And Lara coming after him. And another left hand. And standing 8 count.
4.
Ropes held him up.
Yeah.
6, 7, 8. You all right, son? You all right?
Hearns' corner telling him, hold on. See if he can.
Yeah,
Lara very crafty. Another left hand. That's it. It's over. Just like that. Well, to say that that was impressive is an understatement.
Got a little crazy in there, Barry, and Hearns remains flat on his back. So you heard someone yelling, respect, respect, respect. Respect the fallen warrior here.
Yeah, exactly. They're keeping Hearns down. They will do this as a precaution. I mean, this has become the norm in boxing now, so we don't want to pass any judgment on how injured Hearns might or might not be, but they will tend to, and they'll keep him down until they're absolutely sure.
Well, the worst sign, and I'm sure we'll see it again, but the worst sign is after the second knockdown, the referee 3 times asked Hearns, "You okay? You want to continue?" There was no response from Hearns, and the fight did continue.
Yeah, it's true. Hearns' corner, they were asking him, just hold on, clutch, grab, do whatever you have to do, just survive. He is up, and he's sitting on a stool, so that bodes well for Ronald Hearns. I mean, Lara just came out no nonsense.
He did, and I mentioned in the behind the numbers that his left hand is his only weapon. Well, when you have results with your only weapon like that, you don't really need a second weapon or a plan B. He landed a left hand, and Ronald Hearns, who had been down, let me see, I have my notes here, 5 times at least that we know of, including 3 on Showbox in the loss to Yorgi. He wasn't here tonight. No resistance whatsoever.
Yeah, he had no answer for that left hand. And we talked about the fact that he had a tendency to drop his left hand, which really would leave the right hand of Lara open for him. But it was the left hand that did the damage. And Hearns, no excuses tonight. And Lara just came out ready to fight.
And you have to really... you have to wrap up Ronald Hearns' career here. I mean, you know, he had a title shot last time, and now this, and there's no future for him.
All right, once more, let's make it official. We go to the center of the ring once more, and the ring announcer, Joe Antonacci. Joe?
Boxing fans, the time, 1 minute and 34 seconds of round number 1. Your referee, Keith Hughes, calls a halt to the contest. Your winner by TKO, known as El Oro de Guantanamo, the Punisher, Erislandy Lara.
Well, I would have to think, Steve, it puts him right smack dab in the middle of the picture here.
Yeah, I think he was there already, but yeah, he's certainly, I mean, he was ready for a title fight. The Paul Williams fight proved that.
Yeah, that was a joke.
And this was a subpar Ronald Hearns, who offered no resistance. It's good because Lara occasionally is too patient, occasionally lets his fights go where he gets a little out-hustled. And this is the framework that we're looking at for Lara. You see, I have him rated number 3. The division is getting a lot better in a hurry. Cotto's still on top, but we know he'll be the underdog when he defends against Floyd Mayweather on May 5th, and Mayweather not in these ratings because he'll be moving up from welterweight. But a lot of fresh faces here. Canelo Alvarez, only 21 years old. Molina seems to give everybody trouble. He drew with Lara. And Trout is beginning to emerge. Martirosyan still hasn't made his move. So a lot of good fighters here, a lot of good U.S. fighters here, some undefeated fighters, and Lara clearly deserves a title fight. Whether he gets one and whether he has to be a mandatory or whether he gets a voluntary remains to be seen.
Yeah, but certainly right in the middle of it right now with this win. I mean, there's no criticism whatsoever that you can have of what he did here tonight. And of course, everybody in and around boxing, with the exception of the 2 judges who scored that fight for Paul Williams, know that Lara really, in fact, won that fight.
Exactly right.
Let's take a look back on what happened, and what happened in a minute and 30 seconds. Very first round, Lara going to the body early. He was effective there, and it was really over for all the 10.
And I think a key here is Ronald Hearns hadn't fought southpaws. He was accompanied into the ring by Andy Lee, interestingly, who he sparred with, and Andy Lee will be fighting Chavez for the WBC middleweight title. But Hearns didn't look comfortable. He never really let a right hand go in anger. There's one that missed by 2 feet. And Lara, because he's a much longer fighter than he looks, was able to reach Hearns with that left hand, really pretty much at will.
Yeah, Hearns did not score with a power punch at all in the fight. Lara, on the other hand, 10 of 13.
And you're going to see the knockdown momentarily. It happens very quickly and very suddenly.
Just a good, solid left hand, nothing fluke about it.
What do you see there?
I mean, that's as good as it gets.
3, 4, 5.
And you could see his legs were shot even right there.
And Hearns right there, as the ref waved him back, Hearns looked to his corner. That was a look of desperation.
Yeah, and that was when his corner was saying, clutch, grab, hold on. There, the ropes kept him up.
6, 7, 8.
Again, looking to the corner. Right now, this is a lost fighter.
And it did not take long to end it. 2 left hands over, well stopped. Hearns offered nothing in return. It was all Lara from the opening bell, and the fight was over in a minute and a half.
And we never... All right, this is the first knockdown. You see what happened. Barry, you couldn't have put it better yourself. Hearns with a lazy jab. You said that he jabs from his hip, but he brings his jab back. Look at the jab. It doesn't come back. Lara, who's great at timing it. We saw it with Paul Williams many times. He lands that left hand as a counterpunch, and Hearns got what he invited Lara to take there. And now, again, Hearns looks to his corner. Now watch how this left hand drives him into the ropes. Would he have fallen down without the ropes there? Most definitely. So Keith Hughes made a good call here. And unfortunately for Hearns, the fight continues.
Yeah, he came off the ropes and walked right into that left hand. Just bounced off the ropes into that left hand. Here it is. Boom.
Yeah, it's amazing he stood and took that punch.
And it didn't take long for Lara to finish it, proving that he's a pretty good finisher also.
And right here, the referee is saying, do you want to continue? Are you okay? There was really no response. I'm surprised the referee allowed him to suffer this third knockdown because there was no response.
2 more left hands, and the fight was over and stopped, and well stopped. And an impressive victory. It's all you can say. I mean, you can't even look at the opposition. You just have to look at Lara and say he did everything could have been asked of him.
Yeah, and the perfect opponent for Lara coming off the Williams fight, because Hearns had fought Felix Sturm for one of the middleweight titles. He got stopped. He's never really beaten a good fighter, so this was just way out of his depth. And, well, the numbers...
yeah, tell you everything you need to know.
You don't see an offer too often in boxing.
No, not too many shutouts.
But power punches, that means Ronald Hearns never landed his right hand, and 1 of 22. But, of course, it only took 1 left hand from Lara, and the fight was basically over after that first knockdown.
So Lara said he'll worry about Hearns first, and then whatever comes next comes next. And now it seems the division is open to him. It's almost whoever wants him.
Well, he's number 3 WBC. That champion is Canelo Alvarez. That would be a very interesting fight.
We look into the